Yes, folks, Shane Jones is nothing more than New Zealand First left-wing scum. Now, I'm going to cover that in a moment, but first I would just like to say thank you to everyone who has subscribed to this channel. We've now reached 3,000 subscribers, so let's aim for 4,000 and beyond. Anyway, back to the story. Last Thursday, a huge number of farmers protested at Parliament, and Shane Jones treated them like crap. This is yet another reason to dump New Zealand First as soon as possible. Have a look.
A farmer-led demonstration at Parliament today turned into a slanging match between Forestry Minister Shane Jones and protesters. Jones described them as rednecks, while protesters in turn said he was a bully. And Bracewell Worrell has more.
Do you want to listen or not?
Farmers feel...
Here, and Damien O'Connor thinks it's a joke. He laughs about it.
Under attack, and they want the government to know about it. This is how they were greeted. A defiant Forestry Minister Shane Jones.
Right tree, right place, and I am the right man.
No, you're not. You're just a piece of trash.
Just a week after spraying insults at the Indian community.
I wasn't deliberately moving on from having annoyed the immigrants to antagonising the rednecks. It just came out. I'm a Maori.
Oh, so you're a Maori and that makes it okay for you to abuse people.
Jones finding a new target.
Well, the reality is those attitudes is Ngāti redneckery.
Ngāti redneckery, really?
And firing.
When you come to town...
Oh, when you come to town. In other words, when you peasant farmers come to town, you must bow to us elites.
And you make threats and you act in such a vitriolic fashion against the first assistant of the provinces,
The first assistant of the provinces? Really? Is that how he sees himself? What an arrogant, pompous prick.
you're going to get that sort of response.
It's a real concern. He needs to listen as opposed to calling people names like a schoolyard bully.
News Hub understands this sign featuring a crude expletive angered Jones. Most of the farmers are alarmed about the planting of pine on productive farmland.
Really worried about the land being sold off to foreigners.
Exactly.
Selling off our productive farmland to the highest overseas bidder.
If everywhere is planted in pine trees, what am I going to do for a job? What are my dogs going to do?
Forestry is by no means the only thing these farmers are concerned about. They're also worried about water and the Zero Carbon Act. What's clear is the government and its suite of changes is simply failing to bring these farmers with it. A minister labelling protesters rednecks makes getting farmers on board that much more difficult. Anna Brace.
Yeah, anyway, let's go back and have a look at some of those signs.
News Hub understands...
Oh, now wonder what this word could be. Let me think. Coalition undermines New Zealanders' trust and sovereignty. So this word spells C-U-N-T-S. Oh, we can't say that word on YouTube. But Shane Jones et al. Really are a bunch of...
This sign featuring a crude expletive angered Jones. Most of the
Stop rural discrimination.
farmers are alarmed about the planting of pine on productive farmland.
Really worried about the land being sold off to foreigners.
Selling off our productive farmland to the highest overseas bidder.
If everywhere is planted in pine
New Zealand without agriculture, first world to third world. That's for sure.
trees, what am I going to do for a job? What are my dogs going to do?
Forestry.
Coalition government equals naive idealism. Yep.
Is by no means the only thing these farmers are concerned about. They're also worried about water and the Zero Carbon Act. What's clear is the government and its suite of changes is simply failing to bring these farmers with it.
Yeah, now let's look at New Zealand's top 10 exports. And I'll only look at farming. Dairy, eggs, honey, 26.5%. Meat, 13.5%. Fruits, nuts, 5.8%. And that makes up a total of 45.8%. So farming makes up 45.8% of our exports. And Jones treats farmers like crap. Yeah, anyway, I think Kerry MacGyver says it best.
Almost 500 members of the farming community gathered at Parliament yesterday afternoon. There was also a rally through the main street of Dargable as farmers protest what they believe to be unfair and oppressive government policies. The farming lobby group 50 Shades of Green organised the protest as a result of blanket forestry planting of good farmland, reaching what the group calls crisis proportions. They're also concerned about the water proposals, land use changes, and what they perceive to be a consistent campaign against rural businesses. Legitimate grievances, legitimate concerns. But in response to their speeches outside Parliament, that out-of-control megalomaniac Shane Jones had this to say.
Well, the reality is those attitudes is Ngāti redneckery. If you want to influence policy and you want to work with the government, then don't come in such a vitriolic, insulting way.
The vitriol and insults came from Jones. He sang over the top of the speeches because he said they were going on too long, then doubled down on his comments by saying, I wasn't deliberately moving on from having annoyed the immigrants to antagonising the rednecks. It just came out. Immigrants. People who have farmed the land for generations. Rednecks. Who's the racist? Jones is. That idiot is out of control. He is drunk with the power of having hundreds of millions of taxpayer dollars at his disposal. He behaves like a feudal lord, completely out of control. And if ever the phrase bloated by his own magnificence applied to someone, it's him. He's a racist and he's completely out of touch. That regional development fund is not his money. It's ours. And he's in Parliament not because he's especially gifted or talented or has something to offer the people of New Zealand. He coasted in on his boss's coattails. If you listen to him, he seriously believes that he's something quite special. I'm Matua Shane Jones. If you're going to shout over me, you're never ever going to win. How does that help anything? How in any way, shape or form does that add to creating some kind of consensus working agreement between the farming community, who is absolutely vital to New Zealand Inc., and the government? What the hell was he doing there anyway? The Agriculture Minister Damien O'Connor was there, Climate Change Minister James Shaw were there. Both ministers have portfolios relevant to the farmers' concerns. Both of them distanced themselves from Jones's comments. But what was he doing? That grandstanding pompous twit added nothing and would have only reinforced the views of the farming community that this ragtag collection of MPs that make up this government is hell-bent on driving farmers out of business. The sooner that idiot is out of office and having to earn his own keep rather than sucking off the public tit, the better.
Kerry MacGyver.
I just cannot believe you can allow a person like that, who has been making off-the-cuff, inflammatory, antagonistic comments on numerous issues completely out of step with what the coalition government's line might be. How has he not been brought into line? How has he not been told, this isn't about you. You aren't running the country. You might have all of this money. It's not yours. You haven't earned it. Get out of the way, Shane. You're out of touch, out of step, out of date. Get lost. Oh.
Yeah, now I couldn't have said it better myself. Shane Jones has to go. New Zealand First has to go. This whole cabal of lefties has to go. These people are dangerous fascists, and their intention is to destroy this country.